Yeah, so basically, what did I get up to in the last 3 months? Well, first of all, I went to Morocco, had an awesome time. Second of all, I painted some parking lines at my work. That's a story you're not going to want to miss. What else did I get up to? My schedule is going very well these last 2-3 weeks. I, sort of stagnated for a bit, but then I thought, damn it, I've got to get out of this rut, and whoosh, there I was, just like the profits I made on my Tesla stock before Elon and Trump got into a beef. Great. Anyway, so first of all, I went to Morocco. Now, what's the story with that? What the hell happened, William? Basically, long story short, I decided I was going to go to Morocco. Solo trip. Drove down to Tarifa in the south of Spain. Then on foot, I left my car parked there in Spain, put a backpack on, and I went all the way down by ferry to Morocco. And it was quite nice, 1 hour ferry, made it to Tangier. There I stayed one night. And honestly, I had such an awesome time. The people there are very friendly for the most part. Of course, you'll get that odd trying to scam you out of money guy kind of every now and then. That's to be expected. What can you do about it? But as long as you know how to deal with it, smile and let them know, hey, you're not carrying cash on you, they'll typically let you go after that. Of course, they're trying to make their money, I get it. But for the most part, the people are very, very friendly. And so I met a guy who was working in banking. He was working in Madrid, but he was from London. And we were chatting while we were waiting for the food to arrive. For the first time in my life, I had a proper tagine. Delicious. I loved it. It was a chicken tagine, great vegetables, made by a lovely old woman there. And I explained to her it was my first one. And there was a lot of love in the air, a lot of gratitude for my first tagine. As the food got to the table, I decided to ask the guy, hey, by the way, it's typical for guys, what's your name? He said, oh yeah, of course, yeah, I'm Alex. And I said, I'm William. I said, Alex, hope you have a nice meal. We shook hands, enjoyed the meal, and then we parted ways, slept, and the next day I went to Casablanca. First stop was Casablanca. Now, Morocco has the most advanced high-speed rail I've ever been on. And so it only took 2.5 hours, I think, bullet train, 300 kilometers an hour through the countryside. Zhoosh, super fast. And it's surprisingly green in the north of Morocco. It shouldn't be too surprising as it's a very similar climate to the Mediterranean countries. And so, zhoosh, go down to Casablanca to visit the mosque. And the mosque was incredible. I've got to be honest, for a piece of architecture that was done within the last 50 years, I believe. 25,000, maybe 30,000 people worked on it, handcrafted, working with plaster, working with paint, working with wood, working with metal. Incredible, but the sheer scale of the mosque is incredible. Really, the moment I walked in and I was just seeing those 65-meter ceilings above me, it's 100 meters wide, 200 meters long, and when you really get to look down the main hall, it is unbelievable, the scale of it and the beauty and the details. And the guided tour was also excellent. He was very funny, very personable, I felt. So definitely worth a visit. If you find yourself in Morocco, this in Casablanca, I do recommend. Then I got another fast-speed train that took me all the way to Marrakesh, which is the main touristic city in Morocco. Marrakesh is awesome, and I would spend a few more days there if I ever go back to Morocco. I got to do a lot while I was there. A few things were closed, but for the most part, it was incredible. So I got to see the square, got to walk down the busy streets, all the different shops. My God, it's so incredible. The colours, the smells, the flavours, the culture, the people. It's incredible when you're walking down these streets, the amount of wares that they have for sale, and I really love it. It's very different to anything I've ever experienced in Europe. This was my first time outside of Europe, actually, in Morocco. In many regards, it's a similar country in terms of having decent, advanced public transport, particularly this rail. Or if you go to Casablanca, you see the buildings. It's just like any other metropolis. They have 10 million people there. It's a crazy sized city. You got to picture the whole population of Portugal, but in one city. And then you go to Marrakesh, and it's just got beautiful, old, intricate, lovely designs and pathways, and I just love it. Everything is artisanal. It's handmade. It's great. And so I slept the first night. Second day, that was the day that I was going to visit all the museums there in Marrakesh. And I ended up visiting about 5 different museums. One which was perfume, another one which was a school that was recently renovated as well, and they did a fantastic job. I also went to the Secret Gardens. I went all over the city. The Bahia Palace. Still got some works going on at the moment. And I thought at the end of the day, this is what I thought I was going to do. I thought, I want to go to the main square. I want to go to one of the terraces of the restaurants there eat a proper Moroccan tagine again, my second tagine, while looking at the square, while it's the sunset, so that you can see it while it's still a little bit of daytime, seeing the sun setting in the distance, and then you see the square lighting up with all the colours and all the fruit stalls and all the people and the hustle and bustle and the movement and the noise and the street performances. Incredible. I wanted to see that. And so I get back to the hostel. I'm going to get ready to ask the host there of the hostel, where do you recommend I eat? This beautiful, really pretty blonde girl walks in and she looks at me, she smiles and says hello. I say hi, and then she goes up the stairs to her room in the hostel, right? Hostels are shared rooms. You've got like 6-7 beds in just one room. And I asked the host, oh yeah, where do you recommend I eat? And he says, oh, we recommend Café de la France. Okay, I will go to that one. And in my head I thought, I'm going to invite that pretty blonde girl I saw at the entrance. But I was really stuck because this is not something I normally do. I'm really nervous. I don't have the courage to do these things normally. And so I'm trying to think, oh, how can I say it in a way that doesn't make me look weird? And I can't think of anything. I'm getting a bit stuck in my head. I thought, damn it, I'm just going to go to her room and ask if she wants to go out for dinner with me. And so that's what I did. Walked up to her hostel room and I said, hey, I saw you at the entrance and I was planning to go out for dinner at the square. I was wondering, maybe you would like to join me? And she said, yeah, sure. I was like, yeah. On the inside, of course, not really in front of her like this. So, what's your name, by the way? Oh yeah, I'm William. Yeah, and you are? Adeline from Norway. A very beautiful girl from Norway. And so we met downstairs in about 20 minutes after that to get ready to go. We were walking down the streets and there was this perfume shop that I wanted to visit called Aroma Timri, which highly recommend, by the way, Aroma Timri. Take a note of this name. If you do like the sensory experiences and the sense of smell, go to the shop. The host that was there was incredibly hospitable. We had a fantastic conversation and I had a look at the perfumes, and then we made our way to the square, and there I am sitting on this beautiful terrace. Sun is setting in the distance, delicious food in front of me, and I've not only got an incredible view, I've got another incredible view in front of me. This very pretty girl, and we're just having an excellent conversation, and I am over the moon. I cannot believe myself. How did I get in this situation? So yeah, that was really nice. We had a nice meal, and then we, after the meal, walked through the streets a little bit, walked around the square, and yeah, I just had a really lovely time getting to meet a new person and just having, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, how did this happen? Anyway, next day, got to catch a train that goes all the way back to Tangier. So basically, I enjoyed the morning. I was going to visit these other gardens of this fashion designer, but there was a queue until Sunday, and this was a Thursday. And it's one of those things that you've got to buy the tickets online, pre-book it at least a week beforehand if you want to make sure you can get to the specific time slot that you're allowed to visit. There's a limited number of visitors, and I think that's a good idea. You don't want the place to be overcrowded. But at least I know next time I go to Morocco, I've got to buy that ticket beforehand. Anyway, so make some time, sit in a cafe for a lunch break, and do what I normally like to do, which is recharge my batteries by connecting to the Wi-Fi and watching YouTube. That was a nice way to pass the time for me. I just love it. And then I go back to the train station, and also the girl that I met, Adeline, was also going to catch the same train. Only problem is we were in different carriages, and they're very strict about the seats that you sit in. And I really wanted to sit next to her, but I couldn't. Anyway, we both make our way back to Tangier. I don't have mobile data. The last time I saw her was at the train station where we were at Casablanca before we caught the second train. Oh well. I didn't get to see her again, but I did get her contact. I've got her WhatsApp and Instagram, so I can message her. I already told her, you ever find yourself in Portugal, I am very happy to be the tour guide here. If you ever go down to Gibraltar, I'll be happy to make my way down there too, because I know Gibraltar like the back of my hand. So yeah, that was that. Got back to Tangier. Then that was the worst night's sleep I got. Too hot, mosquito buzzing, and it's very interesting to sleep in Morocco because you've got the prayers going on every night. They've got those 5 times of the day that they do the prayers, and it can be nice if they have a pleasant singing voice. Other times it can be quite weird and off-putting hearing the singing. It's sort of almost intertonal, like they're not properly singing a single note, and it seems to be raising. It's got a certain feeling, a certain energy to it. It's interesting, but yeah, not something that I was used to. So that's that. Didn't sleep too well, but then yeah, next day catch a ferry back. While I'm on the way back, I decided, because I'm in the south of Spain, drive past Gibraltar first and then make my way back to Portugal. So that's my Morocco trip in a nutshell. Had a really awesome time. Highly recommend a hostel I stayed at called the Madrasa Hostel. That means school. Madrasa is school. And it was super cheap. Per night in Marrakesh was only €10, and there was a breakfast included. So wow, unbelievably well priced. And yeah, I will definitely go back to Morocco, whether that's with friends, with family, or solo adventure again. I would love to go back to Morocco. Highly recommend it. The total price you're probably wondering of all of this, the travel, the hostels, And I did buy a bunch of gifts. I'll show you one gift. Let me just remove the fruit from the fruit bowl. And so yeah, I'll just show you this one gift. A beautiful, lovely pattern on this bowl. And I saw it and I thought, I've got to buy it. And something you've got to do is barter. Yep, let me get the fruit back in the bowl. I'm not really used to this, so in my head I'm already going into it thinking maximum I would spend is probably 20 euros, which is about 200 of the currency in Morocco. And so the guy at first says 550, and I said, no, I'm not paying that, I would only pay 200. And he looked offended, like, oh, give me a serious price. And I'm like, I'll be honest with you, maximum I would pay is 300. And then he said, okay, 300. And then I was getting ready to pay, but I didn't have cash, and to use a card machine, he says that there's a 50 surplus charge because the bank. I thought, fine, sure, 35. So I spent 35 euros, equivalent of that more or less on that. I bought a bunch of other things. Right now I'm just burning some incense that I bought. I bought a wonderful perfume. If I could really share the smell of perfume with you through the camera, I would do that right now. And so yeah, I had a really wonderful time. Really enjoyed my time in Morocco. Now, the painting the parking lines, the story you've all been waiting for. How did this come about? Well, basically, where I work at the company, there are these free parking spots that people are told not to park in because if a big truck or lorry wants to come in to do a delivery, it needs room to maneuver, right? And if people are parked there, there's complaints in the group chat like, oh, remove your car, and the complaints happen every single week. And I said in the group chat of work, a bucket of yellow paint and an hour of work would solve the problem. And so the second highest at the company said, hey William, I will personally pay you 100 euros of mine for you to do the job. Let me check with your team leader to see if you're free for an hour. And the team leader said, adjudicated. And he said, and I was like, if you actually pay me, I will paint the yellow lines, I said. And then the next message in the group chat was showing a 100 euro transfer to my account. And I thought, oh, this is actually happening. So I go to buy proper yellow paint for the road, and I saw a few YouTube videos showing how to do this. There were many different techniques that people did. Some people tried to do the chalk lines and all of that, and I just wanted the most simple method, and so that's what I went with. And I waited for when there was a Friday bank holiday in Portugal, which was actually the Portuguese Independence Day, the 25th of April, because I knew I had 2 days to let the paint dry. The weather looked like it was going to be good that weekend. People were not going to bother me while I was going to paint the lines on the Friday bank holiday. This was the perfect time to do it. And so I got a wooden thing, and then I got like a ruler that was like 90 degrees, and then I did the lines, and then to get the X between the rectangle, what I had to do was, because the wood wasn't long enough, I had to sort of line it up, take a few steps back, look at the line, adjust it. I know how to play snooker, I know how to play pool, so I can get the the line straight, and that's what I did. And I did the work in about 3 hours. It wasn't 1 hour, it was about 3 hours, but I did it. In fact, I didn't have enough yellow paint, but a gentleman appeared called Armando, who was the owner of the bit of land where my company works. And I mentioned, oh, I've got to go to Maxmat, which is the big company where you buy all the paint from, to get more paint. He said, hang on, I've got some leftover paint from when I did the lines in this other building. He brings me some yellow paint what I was missing, basically, so that I could do the rest of the job. I couldn't believe it, so I really got away with it. I highly spent maybe 32 out of the 100 euros, maybe 35 if you include like the rolling pin and the paint tray. Yeah, and then for 3 hours of work I made about 60 euro profit. I couldn't believe it. I was in the up. To celebrate, I decided to treat all my work colleagues in my team. There's about 20, well, 12 of us, I meant to say, 12 of us. And I paid for bifanas, just a Portuguese sandwich, and beers for everyone. They didn't want the beers, they wanted bifana, but yeah, that was all good. Yeah, that was a very fun situation. Schedule, now I talk about my schedule and what my objectives are in life and all of this and all of that, and I realised I was stagnating. I wasn't making any progress towards writing my book. I wasn't making any video editing progress in those 3 months. Ever since December, really, I didn't make much progress whatsoever. Did a few videos at the beginning of the year, as I said in March video, but from March I was just, for about 2 months, not really making much progress. And I had a really great conversation with a gentleman called George that I met at the donut shop that I love going to. And George was a Sri Lankan gentleman who lived his whole life in Britain, and he was very on the ball, very with it when it comes to all things of matters of business, because he was very successful in his job that he did, and he got paid very well. And so he was having a very good conversation with me, trying to encourage me to sort of frame my life and how to get the ball rolling and stuff. And while he was taking it from I should advance my career more perspective, I know that I won't be in it in the long run because I'm just not passionate about it. I know that what I will be doing in the long run is well, I expect it to be something different, but I expect there to be a passive income element from the videos that I work on. And so it's helped me to double down on what my main goals in life are, which are to write a book, to increase the amount of income that I'm making from my RuneScape channel on YouTube, which by the way is already making some income. I'm going to get paid 70 euros at the end of this month. So if I can somehow grow this value more and more, that would be incredible, and make some passive income, maybe one day even quit my actual job. You never know, you never know. But I'll be working on it as a hobby in the meantime. I'm also picking up the Bible again, picking up from where I left off last year, because I haven't been reading it for more than half a year, maybe 9 months I haven't been reading it, so I picked that up again. And yeah, I've been exercising lots. I've been doing record runs, as I mentioned in all of these videos. I'm enrolled in so many different runs. I don't know if I mentioned in the last video or not that I did my record run, which was 32 kilometers. I don't think that was over 3 months ago. So yeah, I broke my record for longest run, which was 32 kilometers. I might have mentioned it actually, doesn't matter. I'm making my way towards 42, the full marathon, which I'm going to do in Porto. I also did a 22 kilometer trail recently, which was good. A bit easier than the 19 kilometer one I did a few months earlier, which had much more difficult terrain to run on. But yeah, in other words, I'm getting quite consistent in terms of my running, my stamina, and getting my life on track. These last 2.5 weeks have been mostly productive. I've written over 8,000 words, getting closer to 10,000 now, just on different topics that interest me, and trying to summarize all the ideas that have been running through my head over so many years. It's nice to actually get it out, written more properly. And yeah, so that's advancing, and I'm happy with that. Cool. Other things to say, just been reading a lot of books really. I've been reading so many different books. Yeah, I know that every now and then I'll read a book that makes me really want to make a book review on it, but it isn't always the case. I want to, capture my thoughts into this sort of style of one-cut video upload format. But yeah, I'm sure I'll read some books eventually that I will want to make some comments on. That's it really. Yeah, life is going well. Work is getting exciting at the time. At the moment, the company's doing very well successfully, so there's some room for growing within it. In the meantime, even though I don't have that long-term vision really sussed out yet at the company, I'm being highly productive with my free time. To give an idea of what a normal day looks like right now, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning because I'm an early bird. I have a lot more energy in the morning. Wake up at 4:30, do my morning routine of mindfulness, which is stretching, breath work, and meditation. And then after that, I like to do my writing, and this can take anywhere from 45 minutes to over 2 hours sometimes. Then I'll fill the rest of the time in the morning with working on videos or reading the Bible or other books. And if I don't get distracted with other things like YouTube, because there are still days that I do, I fill the time with other things, and then I go to work. And after work, I've only got about an hour and a half, 2 hours before I go to sleep. So what I end up doing is exercising now at the end of the day instead of the beginning. And this is a very different dynamic, exercising at the end of the day. My body's not used to it, but I'm building that resilience now. And I prefer it. I think it's better for me to do all my brain heavy tasks in the morning, and then at the end of the day when I haven't got much mental energy, that's when I do the physical activity. I think this makes a lot of sense actually. So yeah, still getting my exercise in, end of the day. I've been losing a bit of sleep recently, changing my schedule an hour earlier, exercising at the end of the day. Muscles not completely relaxed because I've got to do proper stretching and such. But I'm getting used to it. It's an adjustment period, I'm getting used to it. Predictions for the next 3 months. Well, the main thing that's on my mind is my holiday that I'm going to be having in England in August. I'm going to be going to England for the first time in over almost 3 years, because I really want to walk this hike, the South Down Ways, which starts in Winchester and ends in Eastbourne. It's 100 miles, which is equivalent of about 160 kilometers. So it's a bit shorter than what I did last year, the Santiago Compostela walk. And yeah, I already got the plane tickets, and I'm making my plan for the camping and hiking. And then with whatever few days I have left, because I've only got, I believe it's 9 or 10 days off work. I believe the hike will take at least 6 days. The last 2 or 3 days that I have remaining, I will go to Portsmouth, and I will see my friends in Portsmouth that I haven't seen. The people that I used to live with, my housemates, and a few of my colleagues from university, haven't seen them in ages, and it will be really nice to see them again. And yeah, I haven't been to Portsmouth and the UK in 3 years, so it's going to be quite literally a trip down memory lane. I bet it will be quite trippy for me, to be honest. You got a picture, I lived there for 5 years, fully expecting that I would keep living in the UK, maybe Portsmouth. I didn't really, when I come back to Portugal, didn't really think it was going to be more than 6 months or a year back here. So my mind was still thinking that I was going to go back there. But after being here and seeing the quality of life here, even though my earnings are rubbish, to be honest, the earnings here in Portugal are rubbish compared to the UK. I'd be saving a lot more money on minimum wage there, even living in a big city, than I would here, whereas the difference is I've got quality of life. I've got the sun outside. Man, that's something you do not get in the UK. And you probably noticed that I've got a bit more of a tan going on right now. You can still see some whiteness where the shirt is. But yeah, it's really nice to capture all the sun. It's really nice to enjoy the delicious food. My God, the food here is miles ahead of what the UK is. Yeah, life is pretty good. So that's what I expect the next 3 months to be. I'm going to enjoy my UK holiday. I'm going to keep working, of course. I'm going to have a few swims in the sea because it's getting to that beautiful, lovely summer weather. I'm going to keep on exercising. I'm going to keep on with my diet. Didn't really lose much weight in the last 3 months. The last video really showed I lost 7 kilos. Since then, I've only lost 1 kilo. You know, 7 kilos in 3 months and then 1 kilo in the next 3 months. Well, I've sort of reached a plateau, stagnating, because I do enjoy eating donuts and delicious food here in Portugal. But I am exercising, so I'm at the upper limit of what a healthy weight for someone of my height and age is, and with level of activity. Of course, it's not all just muscle. There's quite a decent bit of fat over here that I've still got to shred off. But hey, I'm making progress. I'm going in the right direction, which is the important part. What else? Yeah, I expect maybe in the next 3 months I probably will finish reading the Bible. If not, it will definitely be in 3 months after. Doing a bunch of different books. I'm reading We Who Rest With God by Jordan Peterson, which is really good. It's a really good book. I'm enjoying that. I've got a bunch of other books I want to read, like Maps of Meaning by Jordan Peterson as well, which I think is his best work, and I look forward to cracking on with that one. So I guess in terms of like Bible studies, if you can call it that, and reading a few different people's commentaries, and also other books that I want to read commenting on the Bible and stories and the most ancient stories that we have. I love the symbolism behind it. I find it super fascinating. And so this has been one of my goals for this year, 2025, is dipping my toes into Christianity and reading a few commentaries on it and watching content on the internet of people, intelligent people commenting on the texts over there, just to get my familiarity with it. I am also interested in the more mystic side of it, which is even more woo-woo and magical. If religion isn't woo-woo enough for an atheist, imagine the mystic sort of side of things. I think that's where I'm a bit more interested in it, but it's scratching a curiosity itch that I've got at the moment. But it's not to say that this is everything I'm doing. I've been reading productivity books like Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdaal, the YouTuber, and that's a really excellent book. And I read Indistractable by Nir Eyal, and there are so many other genres that I like reading. So that's mostly what I've been doing this year, a mixture of productivity books, psychology books, religious books, esoteric books. That's what it's been like this year for the book size. Right, okay. There are probably other things that I've forgotten to mention, like, for example, I finally gave my Christmas gift. You're probably thinking, Christmas gift this late in the year? Well, this was about 2 months ago. I promised that I would pay my parents and my family, my parents and my brother, a delicious meal at a really nice restaurant, a Michelin restaurant, not star, but Michelin restaurant. And I paid the bill for that. It was about 160 euros, so 40 euros a head. But it was delicious. It was genuinely delicious. And that's what I wanted to give as a Christmas gift to my family, so we did that. You know what? Actually, no, I'm recording on my phone. I was going to check my calendar to see other things that have happened over the last 3 months that I might want to mention, but I don't think it's too important. Those were the main highlights. There you go, update video. This was spring of 2025 transition. Yep, Anthony Fantano, Shamrock Shantano.